Jim, I want to know the truth about religion, and to do so, I have to deal with a lot of different kinds of topics, one of which is the existence of so-called angels and demons, a topic that's not one that I would likely discuss with my scientific friends, but one that is pervasive in general society as something that's incredibly obvious. It's one of those odd situations where scientific and intellectuals would be embarrassed to even talk about it, and the general population believes it. What can we say about the embedding of angels and demons in the history of religions?
What we can know historically is quite amazing. For example, you know this translation of the Bible that I've been working on for over a decade, the original Bible project? Do you know that in the entire Hebrew Bible, I will not even have the word angel anywhere? And the reason is that all of those translations you read in English about angels appearing, it's the word malak, which means messenger. And even though in some cases they are entities from God's side of things, you know, spiritual entities, the word angel, I think, is extremely misleading, because the word is also used for messengers. If King David sends messengers to tell Saul something, it's the same word.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that connotation of the winged creatures benevolently watching over. In the Hebrew Bible, demon doesn't occur at all. Never. There's one story about a being in the heavenly court, a kind of God sits with these Elohim, these beings, and one of them says, "Let me be a lying spirit in the mouth of this prophet." Almost like, let me go play this trick. But he's not a demon. There's no talk of demons in the Hebrew Bible. And the talk of angels is really, I think, a mistranslation. So although the ancient Hebrews believed in entities beyond this world, it wasn't thickly populated so that evil is explained by these demons, because they're not even mentioned, and good is explained by the angels. It's a very different world. It's also true with the Greeks. Socrates is guided by a demon, and yet that's good. That's that little voice of conscience that he says he hears behind his ear, telling him go this way or go that way. So what happens as you get into the later period, the Hellenistic world, with many other ideas that correlate with angels and demons, you get this sense of pessimism that why is there war? Why is there disease? Why is there so much injustice? Why is there so much suffering? There has to be more of an explanation than just fate or that's the way it is. And I think it was very convenient for people to imagine that if there's sickness, it's because there's a demon. Or if there's some sort of an earthquake, maybe God sent and caused the earthquake or whatever. There's a bit of that in the Hebrew Bible, but when you open the New Testament, you're suddenly in that world where almost Jesus' whole career and activity, casting out demons, healing the sick, somebody who's crippled, it's because Satan has bound this person for so many years and so forth. And with this goes Satan. There's no Satan in the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Job, there's a figure called Satan, which is the word in Hebrew for our English word Satan. But that just means an adversary. They have this notion that God meets with his heavenly court, and one of the angels or representatives is like the counsel for the prosecution. He says, no, Job is this, and he's not really righteous. But he's not a demonic, evil, pitchfork character. There's no hell, ever burning hell, and there's not this whole setup of cosmology that you later get with Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. So what you have to ask, I think...
Certainly later Judaism has all of that.
Has all of that.
Just like Christianity.
So for someone like you on a quest that wants to combine the history with the science, a real question you've got to face.
I just want to know the truth. I don't care what you combine with anything. I just want to know
But you want
reality.
to know, does science say anything about it?
I want to understand what are all the elements that contribute to a truthful understanding, whatever they are.
I think the demonically populated world, thick as flies, causing everything, with Satan at the helm, with thousands of myriads of angels and hell and all of this, is a comparatively late development and probably tells us very little about the cosmos as it exists. The alternative view would be, no, that is a final revelation of God through Christ and through, the development of ideas. But
that there's this heavenly battle all the time.
Exactly. But I see it as so parallel with the other developments that we see coming in: afterlife, final judgment, angels, demons. It's this attempt to explain the world with all of its problems and troubles in some transcendent, sensible way, to make everything come out okay and explain basically why there's such evil.
And it makes the world more spiritual, some would say more magical, to have all of these elements, which you do not find in the Hebrew Bible. But you do find some of it. I mean, you do have cherubim, you do have other beings that inhabit this world where God exists.
Exactly. But do you ever have an angel or a demon tempting a person or anything of that nature? It just doesn't occur.
It's certainly not very thick and not very popular. They don't do very much. Occasionally, there's some intervention.
So do they exist? They exist beginning around 200 BC. They become very, very existent in people's thinking. I think Greeks and Hebrews, but...
So would it be fair to say that in the Hebrew Bible there are other beings along with God in some spiritual plane, but they are not so heavily involved in the day-to-day activities of the world? They may be special messengers, whereas in later times they become, as you put it, thick in the activities of the world.
I agree with you that in the Hebrew Bible, angels, demons, and these sorts of entities, much, much less pronounced. But I would go a little further than that. I don't think there's this notion of objective evil on the other side really fighting or countering God in some sort of a battle. There are these messengers, yes, but as far as the demonic world and evil spirits, they're virtually non-existent. And Satan as well, and all the things that finally go with that. The fires of hell and so forth. So I think the ancient Hebrews do have a different worldview, even though there are messengers from the other side, than almost an opposite view. So less is one thing, but I would want to also stress different. Their view of the cosmos is much more positive.